and welcome to This Upbeat Life, the show where we take a light-hearted look at life, what makes us tick, and explore what makes people happy. I'm Simon JJ Green, and I'll be interviewing ordinary people from all walks of life, as well as looking at the latest in wellness, health science, nature, and the quirkier side of the health and well-being industry. Now, please remember that the information and opinions shared on this podcast are for general knowledge and informational purposes only, and do not constitute medical advice. Now, let's get on with today's episode. Hello, my friends. Yes, this is it. This is episode 1, the first ever episode of This Upbeat Life, the podcast where we look at the latest in health and wellness, and we go on the search for that elusive emotion, happiness. On today's show on Quick News, my quick peek at what's going down in the world of health and health science, I'll be looking at the top health and wellness trends so far for 2026 as predicted by the top women's and men's health websites and magazines. And on The Real Deal, I'll be talking about absolutely nothing. And by that I mean the actual art of doing nothing. In far out stuff, my look at the crazy things from around the world, I'll be dipping my toes into the latest craze of packing peanuts. I mean, is there more to these little things than meets the eye? Stay tuned to find out. And on Quick News, the top predicted wellness trends for 2026, where science meets purpose, tech empowers self-care, and aging becomes a proactive journey. Now, all of these are collated from many sources, so of course everyone has their own idea of what might be trending, but usually TikTok seems to be leading the way. So here we go in no particular order. Trend 1, hyper-personalized everything. In 2026, your smartwatch will know you better than your parents ever did, your therapist ever could, and your ex that never cared to. Now, according to several wellness analysts, wearables and AI will become your new lifestyle co-pilots, gently nudging you toward bed, judging your steps, and occasionally shaming you for eating crisps at 11 p.m. Now, the future is technologically bright, and apparently it also vibrates on your wrist when you've been sitting too long. Actually, I only found out after about 6 months of wearing my Fitbit tracker thingy that it buzzes to tell me to get off my ass if I sit for too long. Trend 2, recovery as the new workout. Gone are the days when fitness meant sweating until your soul escaped your body. Now the hottest thing in wellness is lying down strategically. Cold plunges, saunas, compression boots. 2026 is the year you get applauded for optimizing recovery, which is, I guess, a polite way of saying I didn't go to the gym, but I thought about it intensely. Trend 3, somatic healing and emotional fitness. Next, the world of wellness shifts from talking about feelings to moving them around the body. Breathwork, sound baths, and 5-minute rituals to soothe your nervous system will dominate. The idea is simple. If life is overwhelming, lie on the floor while someone plays a gong and breathe like you're trying to blow up an inflatable kayak. Trend 4, health span, not lifespan. People have realized that living forever is less appealing if the final 40 years resembles a Windows Vista loading screen. So instead of chasing longevity, 2026 doubles down on being functional. Strength, mobility, and eating fewer foods with ingredients you need a PhD to pronounce. Moderation, unfortunately, is in. Bollocks. Right. Trend 5, the great hormone awakening. Hormones step into the spotlight for everyone, not just for the brave souls navigating perimenopause. In 2026, men will start tracking their cortisol spikes with the same passion previously reserved for their favourite football teams, and many will finally discover why yelling into the fridge at midnight was never a sustainable coping strategy. Though, to be honest, I yell into the fridge at midnight if we've run out of cheese. Actually, any time, not just midnight. Trend 6, gut health 2.0. Your gut is still the star of the wellness show, but probiotics alone just won't cut it anymore. Now it's all about fibre diversity and feeding your microbiome as if it were a small, demanding pet. Your colon becomes a garden, your breakfast becomes compost, and your mood becomes dependent on your fermentation schedule. Do you know, I'm thinking that microbiome must have been one of the most overused words in 2025. Anyway, moving swiftly on to trend 7, metabolic beauty. Beauty merges with biology. Serums, supplements, and skincare tools will not only hydrate your face, they'll claim to optimize your cellular function. Everything will glow: your skin, your mitochondria, and your bank account statements from all the unnecessary purchases. Texture-focused and therapeutically scented products promise to calm your emotions, meaning your moisturizer is basically a therapist. Trend 8. AI is your wellness wingman. Thankfully, AI will not replace your doctor just yet. It will just stalk you and scrutinize your sleep, monitor your mood, and send polite messages like, "It looks like you're spiraling. Would you like a stretch break?" It's supportive, it's non-judgmental, and it never brings up things you said back in 2016. Trend 9. Functional plants mature. Right, get ready for this. Adaptogens and mushrooms will level up from vibes-based medicine to semi-respectable wellness tools. But the public will demand evidence, not just marketing. Reishi for stress, lion's mane for focus, cordyceps for when you want to feel like a mushroom-powered superhero. The days of vague claims like supports holistic harmony are slowly dying. Trend 10. Workplace wellness evolves. Now, before I get into this one, remember, this is just a prediction. I don't want you snorting your coffee over your desk in disbelief. In the office, well-being finally becomes realistic. Employers will introduce menopause support, financial wellness tools, and flexible schedules for anyone raising children, caring for elderly relatives, or simply needing to stare into space. Managers will be educated on empathy, which is perhaps the boldest wellness experiment of them all. Trend 11, rest as rebellion. And finally, rest, real rest, as in put your phone down and breathe like a Victorian on a fainting sofa. In 2026, rest becomes a revolutionary act, an elegant protest against hustle culture. The new mantra is all about, I'm not lazy, I'm participating in a global well-being movement. Just wait until you hear what I'm covering in The Real Deal on our next segment. And finally, in the predicted wellness trends for 2026, my favourite, sauna reimagined. Exploring the benefits of saunas beyond traditional uses. A global wellness trend where saunas are being reimagined as social sensory experiences, moving beyond traditional relaxation. This trend sees saunas evolving into communal spaces that celebrate culture, offer entertainment, and foster connection, often incorporating activities like Aufguss rituals, music, and storytelling. And what do you mean you don't know what Aufguss rituals are? Well, the Aufguss ritual is a sauna experience that goes beyond simply sitting in a hot room, sweating with semi-naked, or they could be completely naked, strangers. It's a multi-sensory ritual that combines heat, essential oils, music, and a theatrical towel-waving performance. Yes, theatrical towel-waving is a thing. Led by a trained sauna master, the ritual is designed to enhance the sauna experience and boost endorphin and serotonin levels, leaving guests feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. Got to find me one of these reimagined saunas. So, there you have it, the global health and wellness trends for 2026 for beautiful and technologically connected people. Now, I'm not beautiful, so I don't have to participate. That's my excuse. However, if you have decided to embrace a wellness trend or to turn your life upside down, drop me a line at thisupbeatlife@gmail.com and let me know how it's going or what you're intending to do, especially if you have or are going to experience the Aufguss ritual. Today on The Real Deal, we are going to be looking at the noble art of doing nothing, or how to be bone idle but without the guilt. Now, as touched upon in the quick news and in the 2026 predictions, rest is going to be used as rebellion. Freedom! Let's get one thing straight. Doing nothing is an art form. Now, of course, anyone can be busy, but it takes true dedication, patience, and a well-developed sense of inertia to master the fine craft of idleness. Now, the way I see it, in today's world where productivity is practically a religion and your worth is measured by how many side hustles you have, it is downright revolutionary to perfect the act of loafing. So, welcome to The Art of Doing Nothing, where I invite you to put down your to-do list, ignore that email, and bask in the glory of absolute unproductivity. So there was a psychological study done by the University of Virginia back in 2014 that found people did not, in reality, like to spend even just a few minutes alone in a room with only their thoughts. In fact, some people prefer to give themselves a mild electric shock rather than just sit and ponder alone. Ooh, the existential dread. Now, I'm not suggesting that you stick your fingers in the nearest power socket rather than face your demons, but believe it or not, there is a noble tradition of idleness. But before you feel guilty about your lack of hustle, let's remember that some of the greatest minds in history were committed idlers. Oscar Wilde, a man who had an almost professional approach to lounging, once said, "To do nothing at all is the most difficult thing in the world, the most difficult and the most intellectual." Meanwhile, the ancient Greeks like Diogenes and Epicurus championed leisure as absolutely essential to a well-lived life, hence why they spent so much time philosophizing, reclining and inventing democracy between naps. Then we have our man Bertrand Russell, who argued in 1932 that society overvalues work. He advocated for a 4-hour workday, suggesting that more leisure would allow people to pursue philosophy, science, and the arts. Yes, absolute genius. Now, let's fast forward to today. The modern world expects you to be a relentless productivity machine. And if you're not optimizing, monetizing, or side hustling, are you even alive? And the truth is, dear listener, you are. And better yet, you're living well. In fact, doing sod all is a common practice in some countries. The Dutch call it niksen, the Chinese have wu wei, or non-action, and the Italians have dolce far niente, or the sweetness of doing nothing, while in the UK it's called lazy arsitis. Now, I'm sure that many of you out there are absolute masters of being bone idle, but if you're a newbie, then the key is to firstly give yourself permission to do absolutely sweet FA. But how does one actually do nothing? It is harder than it sounds, but here are 4 surefire techniques that can help. Number 1, the strategic stare. Pick a spot on the wall, stare at it until your vision blurs, and let your mind wander. Congratulations, you are now meditating. Who knew it could be that easy? You see, nirvana is within reach. And then number 2, we have the couch philosopher's approach. Lie down and get comfy, preferably with a cup of tea or coffee or even a glass of wine and a well-placed snack. Look at the ceiling and ponder the mysteries of the universe, like why socks always disappear in the wash, how Trump became president for the second time, or whether your cat secretly judges you. Here's a hint, it does. And then we have number 3, the continental method. Ignore the temptation to doom scroll on your phone. In fact, go and put it in the fridge. Now, take your time with that glass of wine. Sip it like an Italian would in a sun-drenched Roman piazza, even if you're actually in your kitchen wearing questionable underwear, and let your mind wander, flitting from happy snapshots of your childhood to wondering, does a straw have 1 hole or 2? And then number 4, finally, the guilt-free naps. Naps aren't just for toddlers and the elderly. If anything, the nap is an underappreciated power move. Sleep your way to enlightenment, my friend. The Spanish, Italian, and the Chinese have been doing it for centuries. So go and savor that siesta. Live dangerously. Don't even set an alarm. By now, you're probably thinking, no, there's no way I can do nothing without feeling guilty or my other half nagging me. But try looking at it from another perspective. Today, I'm doing nothing because I started that yesterday and I haven't quite finished doing nothing yet. I'm no quitter. So, how can you overcome the guilt of doing nothing? Well, I think the biggest hurdle to doing nothing is the niggling sense that you should be doing something. But let's be real. Most of the things we busy ourselves with are just elaborate forms of procrastination disguised as work. That spreadsheet, that's just a socially acceptable way to chain you to your desk while you wonder if this is all that life has to offer. That email, well, it'll still be there after your nap. Have you unloaded the dishwasher? It'll still be full when you wake up. Mow the lawn? Let nature take its course. Instead of feeling guilty about your idleness, embrace it. Own it. Be proud. Wear it like a Scotsman wears his kilt as he gently strokes his sporran. If billionaires can get away to their exclusive resorts to recover from making their squillions, then surely you can take 20 minutes out of your day to stare out of the window without shame while you ponder the meaning of the universe and your magnificent place in it. Now, we know the world won't end if you slow down. That urgent task will survive without your immediate intervention. And, dare I say it, you might just find that the more time you spend doing nothing, the better you are at actually living. So, dear listener, I implore you, log off, sit back and let the world spin without your interference and discover that doing nothing is the most productive thing you'll ever do. If you're already a master practitioner of doing nothing, an expert in bone idleness or a professional loafer, drop me a line at thisupbeatlife@gmail.com and tell me how you manage it and what's your secret, and I'll read the responses out on a future show. Better yet, get your other half to write in and tell us how good you are at doing nothing. I would get mine to do it, but the show's just not long enough. Oh, bugger, I've left my phone in the fridge. And on Far Out Stuff, the latest craze, eating packing peanuts, a snack or a stunt. Move over kale chips and oat milk because the internet has found its latest bizarre food trend, eating packing peanuts. Yes, you heard that right. Those lightweight, oddly satisfying to squish little foam nuggets have become the unexpected star of the culinary underground. But before you start raiding your latest Amazon delivery for a mid-afternoon snack, let's just check this out. Now, first touted as a substitute for chips or crisps back in 2014, the peanut packing munchies have surfaced on and off for about a decade. But are they actually edible? Well, the short answer is sometimes. And the long answer is it depends on how much you value your digestive system. Some packing peanuts are made from cornstarch, which is technically biodegradable and non-toxic. Now, these dissolve in water and, in theory, won't turn your stomach into a seething biohazardous waste zone. However, the more common variety is made from polystyrene, which is about as digestible as a styrofoam cup, which isn't very digestible. But why is this a thing? Well, we know the internet is a strange and weird and occasionally wonderful place where people will eat anything if it gets enough views, clicks or likes. TikTok and YouTube are overflowing with viral challenges, and what better way to capture attention than by pretending to munch on something that you shouldn't. However, some people are genuinely curious about the cornstarch versions, while others are just in it for the shock factor. And then, of course, there are the trolls who cheerfully encourage their followers to take a bite, knowing full well it's a terrible idea. And the risks, because there are risks. If you're dealing with cornstarch packing peanuts, the worst you'll probably experience is a bland, dissolving disappointment with a huge amount of flatulence. But if you mistakenly chomp down on polystyrene, well, let's just say your digestive tract won't be sending you a thank you note. Apart from being a choking hazard, the chemical exposure and the general unpleasantness aside, eating non-food items is probably a really good sign that it's time to rethink some of your life choices. But should you try it? Well, unless your diet already includes a hearty serving of bubble wrap and duct tape, probably not. There are plenty of other weird yet safe food trends to explore that won't have you calling the National Poison Information Service. I mean, have you ever tried snail porridge or pickle-flavoured candy floss? These are real things, by the way. So, to sum up, eating packing peanuts might be trending, but so did the Tide Pod Challenge, and we all know how that went. So, let's stick to the snacks that belong in the pantry and not the shipping box. Actually, if you have tried packing peanuts or something equally bizarre as a quick snackette, let me know how they tasted at thisupbeatlife@gmail.com. And until next time, my friends, remember, happiness is the best medicine. Okay, that wraps up the show for today. Thanks for your time and for listening. As always, I'd appreciate it if you could like, follow and subscribe to my show, This Upbeat Life, so I know I'm on the right track. And even better, leave a review and share it with your friends. Now here on This Upbeat Life, you can share your thoughts, you can ask questions and be part of our growing community. And if you've got a story for Far Out Stuff, or you just want to get in touch with your health and wellness stories and ideas, then email me at thisupbeatlife@gmail.com and I'll read it out on the next show. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram as This Upbeat Life and on Blue Sky as Simon JJ Green. And until next time, remember, happiness is the best medicine.